You're listening to the Ballet Piano Podcast, lifting the lid on dance accompaniment.
Hello, listeners. We're back. It's Thursday again if you're listening in real time. I'm Chris Hobson. To the left is baby Hazel and the gorgeous Akiko Hobson.
Hello.
To the right is the gorgeous fun freelance dance, hashtag Matt Gregory.
That's Jamil Lawrence's little thing. Hi, listeners.
And in the corner, well, not literally in the corner. He is around
the naughty corner.
Diagonally opposite. If I'm at 6 o'clock, David's at 11.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Having the time of his life with us this afternoon is Mr. David Yeo.
Hello. Hello.
How are we all?
Great.
Lovely.
It's the same every week. How are we all? Oh, we're here again. Right, this week.
Another week, another topic.
Another week, another podcast.
Oh, what are we doing?
Well, each other. No.
This is our second date.
No, we did first date nerves a few weeks ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
So this week, it's something that's actually really specific to
Training.
training. Ballet establishments.
Yeah, and it's all about playing for assessments, and in David's case, how you plan your assessment class, how you make it, the things you include. Yeah, I'm really interested for this one. Because I haven't played assessments for over 10 years.
Oh, right.
Because I've been freelance the last 10 years. So,
Would you like to?
yeah, I would love to. Yeah, I really would.
Yeah, but whenever I phone you up and say, "Can you come do a week's work?" you always say, "No, I'm too busy."
No, because I think Sheb has asked me once if I was going to be there every week.
Oh, yeah.
For potentially play for hers. And I said, well, get me when you can.
It's a
sort
big
of
commitment,
thing.
isn't it, though?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. And that means I'd have to, be more available.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Because it's a huge, big collaborative kind of...
Yeah, it is.
thing.
It's a collaboration.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the first thing we'll
Yeah.
ask. It's a collaboration, isn't it, David?
Well, interesting that you should say that, because when I first started to teach, I was so nervous about it that I would prescriptively have just... I want this tune, I want that, I want this, how many bars and whatever. When I first, but now it is much more of a collaboration. Now
Yeah.
more relaxed and everything. We're surrounded by such fantastic musicians.
Oh,
you can
yes.
do that.
Keep saying it, David. Yes, you are.
We're spoiled because it is a collaboration, because you'll demonstrate a couple of bars of what you want, and suddenly your musician will go, oh, how about this? And then you'll have a conversation about whatever it is that they've played, and then it kind of like morphs on from there.
What did we do? Was it last year or the year before? Did we use Shardas for your assessment? The Monty
Yes.
Shardas.
Yes.
So we did Plie. We finished that off. That was Plie. Yeah. And then we did Slow Tondu.
Yeah, but it morphed into something
And
else.
then we ended. So the the Monty Shardas
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
And then we
yeah.
went to yun, dun, dun, da, 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 but a little under tempo for Glisse, was it?
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, let's just go full on coda for Jete. So we were in like Fiddler on the Roof mode by then, or something like that. So it took like 3 steps up in that, which doesn't happen in a class. That happens sometimes it's pre-planned, but it's not. Like, I know when I work with you, it's like some of it's pre-planned, but we sort of go in there and you go, afterwards I'll play something, you go, oh, I like that. I think I might put this exercise into my assessment.
Yeah.
And then other times it's a bit like, oh, we've played this a lot. Can we play something different for the B side or for the second side? How can we keep everybody's interest as well?
If I can just park music for a second.
Yeah.
David, when you're thinking of your class, where do you start? Do you look at obviously what the men have done in their training up until that point, and that's how you choose the steps?
There are a variety of ways of actually approaching it. That's one good way. What in that term have you covered?
Yeah.
So you could do it that way, or you could say, well, wherever you are in the term, this is where we're trying to get to, or what we're trying to show. So there might be a particular theme, like fouette or something like that. Anything to do with fouette movements, or port de bras or something like that you want to kind of like highlight. And so I would say that in the lesson plan, this is all about whatever this is what we're focusing on. And so many of the exercises, if not all, will be all about that.
Yeah.
So you're trying to either work forwards, or you will go backwards from the Grand Allegro backwards.
Right.
And that's how you kind of structure the class.
Oh, I see.
So
And do you kind of choreograph the exercise the way that your current student would look nice, or you just choreograph the way that because it's
It
a
should look.
requirement?
very good question. Very good question indeed. It depends on what you're trying to achieve and trying to show within your lesson plan. If I'm wanting to show what they've achieved, there's going to be good, there's going to be bad, there's going to be whatever in between. So I will set an exercise that's going to be challenging for some people.
Yeah.
Other people are going to find it easy, and in between, there's all the variety in between. If I want to show off, I'm going to pick something that they can mostly all do,
Yeah.
so that it looks cohesively very good. So it's like what is this? What is the purpose of your class, or what is the exercise trying to show? Clearly.
And are there elements that you have to include for the structure of the 3-year training?
Yeah.
They need to be at this point by this term in the second year, for example, and then these are the steps that they should know by now and they should be able to execute. That's going to be in the assessment.
Excellent
Yeah.
question. It depends on the school that you're teaching for and what your expectations are of the students that you're teaching.
Right.
So I completely agree with you. For me, for years 1, 2, and 3, there are particular steps and a standard of quality of movement, shall we say, that I'm expecting.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to put in my assessment class at this level.
Yeah.
And it does change whichever year group you're teaching.
Yeah.
And for however long that you've been teaching that group as well.
Yeah.
So if you're taking over from somebody, you're not
Yeah.
going to throw everything in at them if you don't know how they're going to react.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about too. But yeah, excellent questions.
And does the pianist change everything? Which pianist you're gonna get for the assessment class?
It does, because everybody is an individual. So you don't really know until you're actually working with that person how it's all going to turn out. And that's kind of the excitement. And you have a starting point of it's this rhythm, it's this tempo, whatever, and this time signature. But what I find fascinating is where you morph onto. Where do you go with that tune after that?
Yeah.
You played it a few times. What do you then do? And that's always exciting because you never know where that's going to go.
I find for me that comes from a boredom aspect sometimes. Well, not boredom, but it's the same. Like you guys are doing the same choreography every day. Like you start teaching it. Usually you'll teach an assessment over about a 2-week period.
Yes.
Usually in most schools, but then you have to do the same class day in day out for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, an hour 45, with the same prescriptive music every day. So it's like, how can we make it more interesting? What as a musician, I walk the dog in the morning, and I'll be thinking through David's class, or I'll be thinking through somebody else's class. It's early, it's 5:30, and I'm going, maybe that might work. If I try that, I'll throw it in and see what happens. See how it changes the dynamic of the class. See if
Totally, yeah.
anybody sparks an interest or not.
Yeah.
If they spark an interest, you have tick the box. Like, well, maybe it won't be in there every day. But actually, this is what David's very good at in an assessment, is he will be very open to changing the music. Some teachers, and I don't know, maybe I'm doing an injustice to some, but I would say like the slightly less experienced teachers, or the ones who haven't been doing it for as long, if you change the music, they get they're not happy with it because they know that they're expecting a certain thing for each exercise, and you might have 4 groups of women or 4 groups of men, and you can't just play the same music 8 times, because I'm going to be bored, the dancer's going to be bored, and the panel are going to be bored.
Yes.
Yeah.
So actually that's another challenge with an assessment, is how do you find, say if you've got 4 groups, 4 sets of music that are the same, they've got the same accent, they've got the same dynamic and lyrical quality. Hello, Hazel. They've got the same dynamic.
She's got some thoughts.
She really does. Well, let's wait. She spent 9 months at Akiko's belly doing assessments in classes, didn't she? She was in there up until a
She's
week.
qualified.
Until a week till she fell out. She was in the studio.
That's very true.
So how do you find this? A piece of music, or 4 pieces of music that have got the same quality, phrasing, accent, everything. It's hard.
Yeah.
Well, can I ask collectively to the 3 of you, I guess there's a period in the assessment making where there is that collaboration, and then you experiment with music, and then there must get to a point where you, David, you pin it down
Yes.
and say, this is the music I want, and then it's rehearsed like a syllabus, effectively, sort of. In that the music is the same, and then the dancers will know what they're expecting to hear.
To the greater extent, yes.
Yeah.
But I am, as Chris will say, I'm always open to that new extra thing, because you never know.
Even right up to the assessment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even up to the day, or
Right.
on the day,
Right.
because you never know what's going to happen and how the students are going to react to the music.
And that
even
could
now,
add something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even now, what we're tending to do at the school that we work at
The Western
is-
Hemisphere.
is there are elements now that are unset. So there are exercises that are not set until that the students don't know until on the day, specifically for that reason, because we want to see how they will react to
Yeah.
live music
Yeah.
under pressure.
Yeah.
And that's really important, isn't it, for a performer,
Yeah.
any kind of performer.
And I guess also because this is all prepared and there's a process, this is an opportunity to use irregular time signatures.
Oh, we love that.
And it's a good good thing to include
Yeah.
because it's different and it's just musicality wise it pushes the standard.
Because you can discuss, outside
Yeah.
the studio,
Yeah.
don't you?
And
With
it becomes pre-prepared choreography
Yeah.
then. It's like we'll stick a video on the episode page for this, and it was when I was playing for a different teacher at the school in the Western Hemisphere with on square dance, and Dave Brubeck on square dance in a 7, and it just sort of like I think we were on half-term break or spring break, whatever it is, and I was at home, I was messing about on the piano. I haven't played this for years. So I took a quick voice note on my phone. I sent it to this teacher. I was like, can we include this somewhere? I don't care where, but I really want to have it in. And then we ended up with like this most ridiculous, complicated structure, which was like, we had 2 bars of 7 for the students to clap. Or was it 4 bars of 7? I can't remember. And then 2 bars for them to get into position and then start. And then 1 bar of 7 to change. It was 7 lots of 7 for the exercise. But it was brilliant. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it because it was, I'd
just
never
because you
done
wanted
that.
to play, yeah.
Yeah, just because I wanted that.
But at another school that I play at, if I'm there and I'm not one of their regular pianists, but I play their assessment class, there's a 5/4 in there because that's one of their included elements. And so yeah.
I once had a
it's a good
teacher. He said, "I want all the bar exercise with Bach music," and I was like, "Okay." And he said, "Can we not just make it the range a bit wider? The Baroque music, not Bach. No, I want Bach." And I spent whole week in the library trying to find Bach music.
Were you still a new pianist at this point?
Yeah, I was new and I wasn't sure whether this is kind of part of the requirement. So I didn't say no. And I did it. And the teacher was very happy. And after the assessment, he was like, "Thank you so much. It was brilliant, blah, blah, blah." And I have this dream in the future. I don't know whether this works or not with the musician's point of view, but I'd like to do entire bar with Bolero. And I was like, no, let's not do this.
Bolero.
Yeah,
whole bar.
dun, 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 from plie until grand bottom at the bar. And I was like, no.
Well, I didn't play it, but a teacher at another school used that tune, Bolero. They weren't doing an assessment. They were just doing a showing of their classwork. And he had choreographed all the different bar exercises and center exercises to that tune. Because it just goes on and on and on.
Exactly.
I mean...
When I was teaching at another school, I was co-teaching with my mentor, Richard Glasstone, and he did a fantastic thing. He made a continuous bar to a piece of music that just developed as it went on. It was very simple at the beginning and then kind of went on. And even to this day, it's endlessly fascinating that he could actually manipulate the exercises to suit that particular piece of music.
Wow.
That was fantastic. That was what I'm aspiring to, I guess. But I was just going to ask, have you guys ever played for what's it like when you're playing for, let's say, a set exam, like an RAD exam, and you have to come in and you have to play that particular piece of music day in and day out? What's it like for you guys when you're preparing for an exam like that?
I mean, I started my job playing for RAD exam classes first year. So I did a lot of RAD exams first year. And because I was a new ballet pianist, it was a great way for me to understand the nature of steps and things like this, and with the music that is always the same. So it was great for me to learn for first year, but after a year, it was quite depressing for me.
Yeah.
So I needed to move on.
It's hard playing the same sort of syllabus music, I think.
Yeah.
I found it difficult. I didn't do a lot of it, but I do bits of cover and things like that. But I found it quite, not demoralizing, but I found a little bit boring because there's not a lot of scope for change and fun and, I don't know, artistic growth in there. Even with the same choreography, they want the same music because it's prescriptive, because that's what you're going to have for an exam. But there isn't a change that often that teachers want in the music. It's just the same.
You can follow the podcast team by visiting the social media channels. Search for Ballet Piano Podcast on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter for up-to-date information and content about the podcast.
The reason I asked that question was because I have actually prepared some students for exams where there is like set music. But what I find is really important is that to keep it fresh is to come away from the set music.
Yeah.
And to specifically ask the pianist not to play that music so that the student actually still listens proactively rather than just like let the music like run all over them and not listen at all. And so what I find is that when you do that and you come away from the music, this is for teachers who are, this is what you do. You, as a regular thing, you have exams for your students. Come away from the set music. Do something different.
Yeah.
Ask your pianist, what else could we play that's similar to this, that's completely not this at all? And then go back closer to the exam to then go back to the set music. And what you'll find is that there's a refreshment in the way that the actual students react to the music of the set music.
So you could do that actually. You know, I mean, I know you're talking about Cicchetti because I was just remembering that when I played for you and I've seen you choreographing the exercise and you're marking it through. And it's like, oh, I know this. It's the Porta Brat. I'll go, da da da. You go, no, I don't want it. Play something else. But you know it's coming. I know it's coming because you say no introduction. And so you know it's coming. So you say play something else, which I understand. So teachers who don't have the luxury of a musician in the class, you could almost get the same effect if you're able to go. I mean, there's a humongous amount of music that's available on places like Spotify and Amazon Music and iTunes, including the Ballet Class Volume 1 by Chris Hobson, Akiko Hobson and Matt Gregory. But you could use that to inspire students in a different way.
Absolutely.
The length might not be the same, but the flavour and the essence of the exercise is going to be the same. You can say, okay, right, you might be doing RAD, ISTD, IDTA, all the other ones I can't think of at the moment, just to add a different flavour to it. Yeah,
it's not strictly the same. But when I was growing up doing RAD syllabus, we would rehearse the exam to the recording, but then we were lucky enough to have a pianist for the exam, and we'd have one rehearsal day. And similar, you sort of re-listen to the music when it's played live.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, you can almost zone out listening to the recording week after week after week. But when you had that person, even though they're playing the same dots, because it's
live.
They fill the room with the music. You re-listen to it.
But that changed, didn't it, when the RAD particularly changed it, where they said you don't have to have a musician who can use CD. Because as we spoke with Jonathan, they did the orchestrations.
Oh, yes. So
they said, like, you can use the CD or you can have a live musician.
Yeah.
So some of it changed, but then I suppose it's all cost as well and things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because we're expensive. Like an adage, we look expensive and we sound
It's so
expensive.
funny. I always say I'm the cheapest in my price bracket.
I've had your invoices, you're not.
Can I just ask as well, what's it like on the assessment day?
It's like a performance.
Yeah, it has
It's
to be that
definitely a
sense of
performance.
occasion, doesn't it?
Yeah, and like Akiko said, once you start, you can't stop. That's it. You have to keep going.
Yeah.
Because that is, for the dancers, if they screw up, well, that's
Part of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
How do you get out of it?
You've got to learn to get on with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got all the things writing down, how many counts in between the exercises, how many groups, which group needs to be slower or faster.
We'll stick some. We'll edit some notes and we'll stick them on the podcast website and the Instagram and the Facebook and things, because actually the notes is a big one as well, isn't it? Because you've got to know as a pianist. It's a bit like,
you write everything down, don't you, for the music choices and. how
the
long
music
it is.
choices, the tempo. It's like, is there 4 or 8 counts in between for groups to get on and off? Because when it starts, that's it. It's pretty much down to us. It is like David said, it's a performance.
Yeah.
And you start.
And I imagine it's the culmination of everyone doing their best work.
Yes.
Because it's been practiced and prepared for.
Yeah.
I mean, there was like graduate assessment should be like
Yeah.
the pinnacle of like, I'm showing you what I've
Yeah.
achieved in 3 years at your school.
Yeah.
Check out how good I am.
Yeah.
That's what your your
Yeah.
graduation assessment should be,
Definitely.
isn't it?
Yes.
It's like, come on.
Your
this
ability
is,
to adapt, yes, and to show what you've done. Yeah, totally.
As flawless as possible.
So when you're doing those segues into like, you know, and however many counts it is between groups or whatever it is, and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to segue into this. What do you do? How do you do that? You know, you're going from one tune to the next and everything. And
actually, it's easier if you've got counts in between because you could be in like one key.
You can change
you could
keys,
be
can't
you could be
you?
in C major and then you could modulate to like a key like F sharp major, which is the furthest key signature away.
Right.
Yeah.
But you've got 4 or 8 counts to do it, so you can have a little bit of fun with that.
right,
Yeah, it's easier, isn't it?
It's So I mean, it can become a little bit repetitive playing for it. You know, if you've got more than 3 or 4 groups, if you've got 5 or 6 groups, then it can get slightly tedious sometimes. Actually, the worst one for an assessment has been in the past and this has happened actually with multiple directors in various different schools. So this is not litigious in any way, shape or form. So the teacher checks with their artistic director in the school about, you know, okay, we're going to do this amount of students per group and da-da-da-da. So you plan your music choices accordingly. So you've got 4 groups and 4 different melodies, which all line up perfectly. Everything's right.
Yeah.
And then they get to assessment day and either the artistic director or somebody on the panel says, I only want to see 3, not 4 per group.
Yeah.
So then the artistic director will go along with this and then suddenly you've got 6 groups, not 4.
Right.
And you're like,
And
how
the
often
music has been rehearsed.
Yeah, so everything's been rehearsed. So the students and the dancers are slightly put off. You're going, okay, right, can I find something new? Do I repeat the first one in group 4 and then the second one in group 5? How do you make it so it's still interesting?
Putting the boot on the other foot. Didn't you manipulate David into doing 2 groups once because you only had 2 big tunes?
Yes, I did.
Probably.
That was last year. It was the carousel. It was If I Loved You from Carousel and You'll Never Walk Alone because they both climax in the same place.
But we agreed. It was the right way to go. Definitely.
You said to me, you're like, we might do 3. It's like, I'd prefer it if you only do 2. Because I don't know what other song from
big
Rodgers and
ballads.
Hammerstein goes exactly in the
so
right
funny.
way.
But it is a collaboration, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
what makes it work.
And then it's all the rehearsal process as well for the assessment. Like, you know, because you said like you rehearse it over 2 weeks and you teach it over 2 weeks. And then, like, when I first joined this school in the Western Hemisphere, I was put with playing for a teacher. Akiko smirked. And then, so, yeah, I
It's
got
not
it.
my fault.
No, it's somebody else's fault who doesn't work there anymore. Dead. And then, no, they're not. I was joking. That nobody else wanted to play for. I was like, oh, it'd be fine. And he did a very funny thing. As I was walking into the assessment with him, he's like, the rondechon and the fondue. I was like, yeah, rondechon 3/4, fondue's habanero style. Change it around, see if they can adapt. But he didn't tell the dancers. So they had to adapt. He was like, there will be no unset exercise, there'll be unset music. And then they had to make it work.
And did you do it? Yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Oh, and was it all?
Oh, no, it's like, yeah, I just changed the tunes around. I didn't,
Okay.
you know, I just did the habanero first and then the 3/4 second.
Okay.
But this is the same teacher 2 days before when they were running his assessment class in his theatre studio. And I was trying to place bets, like how far through, because it used to be continuous bar. It's like, how far through the bar will we get? So you might get towards the end of the first side of pliés, or you might get to the second side if you're lucky. The third count of reverence, the third bar of a reverence is where we got to before he stopped and lost his shizzle quizzle. I was like, none of us could have guessed it. It was, yeah, I've never stopped 3 bars into an assessment class before.
Did you just say 2 weeks and 2 weeks to prepare for the assessment?
About 2 weeks.
So
Yeah.
it's 4 weeks
No,
in
sorry,
total?
sorry. 2 weeks to 2 weeks to teach and refine it. Sorry.
Right. Okay.
And I had this situation that I don't know what, like, people of handling, but 2 weeks we prepared the assessment class, and I prepared the music and the speed the teacher required me to do. So whether I agree or not, this is what teacher want, this speed is the teacher wants. So I've been playing that for 2 weeks, and the assessment comes, and then the panel or somebody in the panel said, no, I want faster. Or no, instead of 6/8, no, 2/4.
Because you're building your muscle memory for
And
that
then
tempo.
I don't mind
Totally.
changing it, but and then there's a conflict between the panel and the teacher, and I'm
Yeah.
in between.
Yeah.
It's not up to me to make a decision
No.
in this point, and then I don't know what to do.
Yes.
And then there's sometimes the student don't react quick enough for the new music, and it's everything, the whole situation become very awkward.
Yeah.
And I still don't know how to do.
I think with that, I don't know, and I know it happens often. I don't think that should be allowed. Personally, I'm sticking it out. I don't think it should be allowed because it's been rehearsed in a particular way. If you go and watch a performance, you wouldn't say, the music was a bit quick, or it should have been this, or it should have been that. You would sit there and you would clap at the end, and then you would give your feedback to your friends and your peers or whoever.
Undoes the hard work up
Yeah,
until that
it's
point,
that's
doesn't it?
that
Because
takes
that's
away.
not prepared then, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
You're going watching a performance that's been prepared
Yeah.
in a certain way with somebody's vision and experience and artistic quality.
Yeah, I had that experience this last term. Because of COVID, somebody wasn't able to actually teach their own class, so we had to kind of just step in for them, and it's a very weird experience because you have no idea what's coming up next. All you got
Because
is
you're
like,
running. I forgot you were running somebody else's assessment.
you just you just know what the exercise is, but you have no idea what it is, how long it's going to be, how fast or slow it's going to be. That was very unusual.
Are you then relying on the pianist that does
Totally.
know the
Totally.
assessment for the
Yes.
tempo?
Who once doing assessments with? Actually, I can say her name now because we don't work with her. Taina Morales, Cesar Morales, who was fantastic, and she joined a particular school somewhere. She's taught everywhere. She joined a school somewhere where we all work together.
This one in the Western Hemisphere.
Slightly Western, yeah. But Taina has a very specific way of training, doesn't she? It's a Cuban way with other influences from here, there, and everywhere. And I really enjoy playing for her. So I'm going to play for your assessment because I think we connected in some way in the class. But then it got to the point where she knew what she wanted, but we hadn't communicated in the right way. And it was 3 days before the assessment. And she was just saying, do this, do that. And it was like, 4 exercises that were all morphed into one. And it would go from one to another, to another, to another, to another, to another. And suddenly I was like, Taina, I've got no idea how long this goes on for, what's going on or what's happening. I'm going to have to put my iPad on the end of the piano and just film it and hope that I've got enough time to go and work it out. Because it was over an hour and a half long. It was a lot of playing. But it was a good experience to do.
You were very nervous about it.
I've never gone back and watched a class that I played for and actually made my own notes on my own music choice because I knew what it was, but I didn't have anything there on a paper.
Yeah.
Right.
And bless her, she sat next to me and did the little hand down. It's like pushed her hand down if it was a bit too fast, or hand up if it was a little bit too slow. Actually, she was all right. She was all right. Tease like that. Do you remember she walked in like skin tight leather pants? It's like right next to the end of the piano.
For the assessment?
Yeah.
Or just for a Monday?
It was the best assessment I ever played for. I miss you, Taina.
She's getting tagged.
Hashtag Taina Morales.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. I think we're over and out before we end up with some issues. Right, it's been fun and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Goodbye from me.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.